Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well today. As we assemble the legislature this afternoon, Alberta's government will continue our mandate received by Alberta voters to take targeted measures to grow the economy, protect law-abiding Albertans, improve health care, and defend the province from federal overreach. Alberta is the best province in Canada to live, to work, and to raise a family. And as a government, it is our duty to ensure that our province stays this way and that we continue to have a prosperous society. For the spring session, we plan to begin debate this afternoon on the Sovereignty Act motion that was left on the order paper from last fall. Tomorrow, Budget 2024 will be introduced, and then estimates will begin when we return following the March constituency break. For legislation, I expect to see between 10 and 12 bills. Proposed legislation will continue to work towards cutting unnecessary red tape for businesses and for Albertans, while building upon protections for consumers in the world's ever-growing and developing economic landscape. Additional proposed legislation will assist with implementation of measures announced in Budget 2024. Strengthen Alberta's healthcare system to ensure that all Albertans have access to high-quality healthcare services, and improve accountability and outcomes for the Alberta recovery model. Proposed amendments will reinforce the province's fight to protect communities and respond to the evolving public safety needs throughout the province. While questions pertaining to specific legislation or language within legislation is best directed to the minister responsible for the file, I am happy to take questions now in my capacity as the Government House Leader.
What's the first bill? What's the first bill of this session, Minister?
Again, I'm not going to go into which ones are coming out first, but what I can tell you is that we are very committed to making sure that we are dealing with red tape and cutting those for businesses, making life easier for families, dealing with public safety, healthcare, mental health and addiction, and municipal affairs issues that are pertaining to it.
Are we going to see the Compassionate Care Act this session, or is that still going to be for the fall? Is it ready?
So there's a number of pieces to the Alberta model. We saw pieces of it last fall, last fall with the Opioid Cost Recovery Act. These are all coming together. I don't believe you'll see anything this session with regards to compassionate intervention, but you will see more legislation as you work towards dealing with the province's opioid pandemic, or opioid problem. I apologize.
So we'll go to the next person for a question. Please state your name, outlet, and keep it to one question, one follow-up.
CTV News. Just wondering what you can tell me about healthcare legislation, specifically in regards to the overhaul and 4 new organizations. What update can you provide there?
Sure. Thank you for the question. We have heard from Albertans that the status quo in healthcare is insufficient, and making transformative change is a priority to achieve better results for Albertans. And so Minister LaGrange, Minister of Health, has been working tirelessly to chart a path forward on refocusing healthcare to deliver transformative change for Albertans so they get the healthcare that they deserve and that they pay for.
And a follow-up?
Yeah, just in terms of the mention of protection for consumers, what can we see in this way? And any measures in terms of affordability, specifically in regards to things around electricity, which we've heard a lot of concerns about?
Yeah. I'm going to wait and let the budget speak for itself when it comes to affordability measures, but I will reinforce that Alberta is the lowest tax jurisdiction in the country. Also, we have no PST. So I would already say that we are doing our best as a province to make sure life remains affordable for Albertans.
Morgan Black with Global News. I wonder if you can give us some further details on upcoming legislation to protect communities and law enforcement and such.
Oh, yes. Thank you for the question. So we have heard from Albertans that public safety is a top priority, and I have to give a lot of credit to the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services, Mike Ellis, for his tireless work getting in the communities and better understanding the needs of Albertans. He has worked to advance the province's fight against violent crimes and has truly been a leader in addressing these. And so I believe you can expect to see legislation regarding public safety, because it's our job as a province to protect Albertans where it matters most, at home and in the streets.
And could you give us a reminder where we left off with the Sovereignty Act and what more will be done in this session, or if any new legislation will be introduced around it?
legislation with regards to the Sovereignty Act?
Yeah.
So with regards to the Sovereignty Act, we did leave that on the order paper. So we will begin debate today with that Sovereignty Act motion. But really, it comes down to, again, our job and the mandate we were given, that was given to us by Albertans, which is to protect them from federal overreach. Our province, I believe, has done a good job of that. The Premier has done a great job of that. We will introduce Sovereignty Act motions as we feel necessary, but at the moment, the only one that we have is the one currently on the order paper.
Right. Any other questions in the room here? Go ahead.
Yeah, Jonathan Bradley, Western Standard. So my first question for you is, you spoke about the combating federal overreach. Aside from the debate on the Alberta Sovereignty Act, how do you intend on responding to that?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
So you spoke about how you want to debate a motion about the Alberta Sovereignty Act when it comes to clean electricity regulations. What else will you be doing to stand up to federal overreach?
Well, I think you're seeing it on a daily basis, pushing back where the federal government continues to overreach into provincial jurisdiction. Whether it's the Sovereignty Act or other measures, the Premier and members of Cabinet and our government in general will continue to defend Albertans' best interests. That's our job. It's what Albertans elected us to do. And as we see more federal overreach, then you'll see more pushback from our government.
Okay, my follow-up question is, you spoke about no motions under the Alberta Sovereignty Act coming forward this session. What criteria would have to be met for another motion to be brought forward?
Well, you know, there's a number of things that we could address when it comes to Sovereignty Act motion. But right now we only have the one. I'm not going to speculate what we would or wouldn't use it for. We'll have to do that on a case-by-case basis. But what I would say is that if we continue to see federal overreach, we have the tools at our disposal to defend Alberta's best interests through the Sovereignty Act.
Thank you.
Mr. Can you tell me more about, like, what are you planning, like, what kind of legislation will we see about AHS? Can you give us a few more details, because...
You know, I do appreciate, you know, the desire for more details. I feel it'd be imprudent for me to wade into that without the bill being tabled. And the Minister of Health would be a better person to ask questions about specifics on a piece of legislation that's coming forward. What I would say is that Minister LaGrange has done her due diligence, consulting stakeholders, making sure that she best understands the problems facing our healthcare system. So as we move forward to address them, Albertans are getting the world-class healthcare that they deserve. So any further question on specifics of the bill, the language, I would defer to Minister LaGrange.
Yeah, but I mean, your predecessor in this role, we were able to ask him the broad strokes of what's in the bill. Like, what kind of bill what kind of bill is the government going to introduce? You can tell me that without breaking any kind of privilege in the House.
I can tell you, as I've already said, that any legislation coming forward in healthcare will be in the best interest of Albertans based on the consultation that we've had and done with Albertans. I can appreciate you referencing my predecessor, but I'm the government house leader of the day, and as such, you know, I feel it's important to defer to my colleagues on their own legislation. If you had questions about tourism and sport, that'd be a great question to ask me. But with regards to healthcare, Minister LaGrange is more than capable to take those questions, and I look forward to her legislation coming forward.
Right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I apologize for coming late. Graham Thompson with the Star this morning. Stuck in traffic for an hour.
Me too.
I missed the top part of your address. You talked about any legislation dealing with local elections, like having partisan politics brought into civic elections.
Yes. So, again, when it comes to reviewing the Local Authorities Elections Act, we have been consulting with stakeholders. The Minister of Municipal Affairs, Minister McIver, has been doing just that. And during the fall of 2023, we asked the Alberta public and Alberta municipalities many questions about local election processes and what we might do to improve them. This is about you know, making sure that people feel confident in their local elections, and so the legislation will work to ensure that.
Yeah, we've heard from different groups that they don't want this to happen. AUMA, it's now called the AM, saying they don't want this to happen. So you're saying that you're going to push ahead. There will be legislation despite people saying they don't want it, you're definitely bringing in legislation to move to have civic elections with partisan politics.
No, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the bill, as I don't do. This is a precedence I've already set in these press conferences. I do defer to the ministers if you have questions specifically about it. What I can say is you can expect legislation coming forward about with municipal affairs as it pertains to the Local Authorities Elections Act.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just go to Catherine here.
Kowski, Alberta Today. You said something in your opening remarks that piqued my interest. Will you need to pass any legislation in order to pass the budget? Like, is there anything that needs to change legislatively in order to pass the budget?
Well, the budget we'll go into, we have the budget introduced tomorrow, then we go into Committee of Supply, and then the budget goes for a vote in the legislature. So I don't understand the question more than just regular process.
Collective bargaining coming ahead, are you going to change any laws around?
I'm not going to go into specifics of the budget. You have to wait till tomorrow. We're all excited about it.
And follow up, Catherine?
Oh, that was my second.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Let's go to the phones here. So operator, can you please put through the first caller?
There are no questions in the queue at this time.
Right. That concludes today's press conference. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, everyone.